I would hide cocaine use at home because I would snort it all and then I didn't have any cocaine to hide. Actually, I would do a lot of cocaine at home. And in order to realize that I was doing it, you would almost have to catch me in the act of doing it because I was really good about hiding it. I think any coke addict out there who uses cocaine at home, especially in an environment where your wife doesn't know, your kids don't know, like none of your family knows, I think that you're very good about hiding it. And even if you get busted, you're gonna come up with some whacked out excuse. For me, I always kept cocaine in my truck. My truck was like my safe place. I liked to do it in my truck because it had a lot of windows. I could see what was around me. I could see that there was no cops or no one, and I would do lines in my truck. But when I got home, I would park my truck in the carport of where I lived in Huntington Beach, and I would usually always try and leave some coke in there. I was usually doing it all. I'd get to the point I would pass out and I'd forget that I'd have coke in there until maybe the next day. But I would always keep some on me. When I would get into the house, I always had plates. They were just white, just ceramic like plates, cheap plates. And I would hide them in the guest bathroom. So we had two bathrooms where we lived. I would never do cocaine in my bedroom, in my closet, in our bathroom, where the sinks are, any of that, because my wife would go there at the time, my ex-wife. So my mentality was I need to have this where she's not going to be at, and I have visibility. That was the thing. Like, I outthought all this, and I think there's a lot of addicts out there who are the same way, where if I know that I can kind of keep an eye on her, where the TV is, where she's at, where the kitchen is, where the bedroom is, I could kind of plan out like, okay, I have time. And I would have irritable bowel syndrome like no other, constantly having to go to the bathroom. I wouldn't use it anywhere but the bathroom. Underneath the bathroom, typically the sink, the bathroom had two sinks. So not the first sink, the second sink, the one that nobody really uses. Underneath there, behind the cleaning supplies would be a plate. I would have a dollar bill rolled up, and I would have a card of some sort. Not usually a credit card, it'd be like a Costco card or something of that sort there, because that's what I'm gonna lay out my lines with. I would not ever have cocaine in there though, because I was so paranoid that I would lose it or forget it. Coke addicts, I think, were very insane. I would drop coke on my floor mats on purpose because that was my sick way of like budgeting cocaine. I was like, okay, I know I dropped some chunks on the floor mat. Let me go carpet surfing for these. When it came to in the bathroom, though, I couldn't leave anything there because what happens if I wanted to use some and somebody was in the bathroom? I mean, it could be me and my ex-wife, and that was still my mindset of like, well, what happens if somebody comes over and they have to go into the bathroom and I wanted to do some coke at this time? I would come up with all these just really whacked out excuses to keep it on me. The coke was usually wrapped up in paper. And the reason I would have it in paper and not like in plastic is I would eat the paper afterwards. I was obsessed with cocaine. If it came in a plastic little bag, I would rip that bag open, I'd suck on the plastic, I'd eat the plastic. It didn't matter. All I cared about was like I had to get it all. And when it would come to doing it at home, I would, you're massively paranoid. You're sweating bullets. I'd be like watching my ex-wife and she'd be watching TV. And I'd be like, oh, I'll be right back, or I got to go to the bathroom. We always, if somebody around you is constantly speaking up and like making it known that they're going, probably doing cocaine. I hate to say it, at least for me, for whatever reason, I felt like I had to announce it so that there was no suspicion. I'd go into the bathroom, I'd bust it out of my pocket, lay out, you dump it out, it comes out somewhat powdered. There are probably two little like chunks. Smash that stuff down, lay out two lines, dollar bills, snort that up, have the sink, of course, going at the same time. Like, who in their right mind is running the sink and while they're supposed to be going to the bathroom? But I would, and I'd have the fan turned on, locking the door. Again, you're not going to really pick up on this. Like as a coke addict, I mean, that's what I did. My ex never really picked up on it because you're not looking for the signs of coke use, especially at home. If you know that your husband or your partner or somebody is on something, you're going to have your suspicions. You can ask them, they're going to lie to you. Even if you catch them in the act, they're going to lie to you. I know a lot of people will go out to like garage and they'll use in the garage and then come back in. And you're going to constantly be disappearing the whole entire night. And you come back and you're geeked out some, man. Your teeth are kind of clenched and you're watching TV and you're watching your partner and you're just on your own planet. But for an addict, I mean, I told myself always like I wouldn't use at home. And I was good about that for a very long time until finally it just became I had to always be doing it. And that was the hardest part about my addiction is I wasn't an addict. I just always had to do it because it was fun and because it made me feel good and because it took away all my pain and trauma. When in reality, like you could have sat me down and said, "This is all signs of addiction." I'd been like, "No, it's not," and I would have tried to come up with the most convincing story possible of why I need to do cocaine at home and why it's okay for me to do it, but not other people to do it. That's the sickness of addiction, and that's why I share so much is to just walk people through this real process of how raw and sick we are as addicts, and that's why I share for educational purposes only. For anyone out there who's trying to go, okay, is my partner using cocaine? Are they using it at home? Because the worst part is when you're using cocaine at home, you run now into the opportunity of finding your spouse dead. Fentanyl's cut into cocaine. If you have a bad heart, you get into a warm bath. You can go into cardiac arrest. There's a lot of things that cocaine can really do to you that you die at home. People don't realize that there are over 30,000 ODs and deaths a year from cocaine. That's cocaine alone. We're not talking a fentanyl death, for example, even if it was cut into cocaine, doesn't count as a cocaine death, even though they did it through cocaine thinking it was cocaine, yet it happened to be fentanyl. So there are a lot of people that actually die from this drug. And again, you can't beat yourself up. If you've ever lived with an addict, I mean, comment down below. You know that, like, you look back and you're like, oh, all the signs were there. How could I miss all this? Because you weren't looking for an addict. I've dated girls before in the past, and I remember this one girl I dated. Her name was Cindy. And I finally came clean with her after we had broken up. And I was like, yeah, I was doing cocaine. And it was about a certain night, and she was like, I knew that something was wrong with you, and I even asked you what was going on, and you just kept, telling me you were tired and you're just on one. And she's like, I knew something was off. I didn't just like, looking back, yeah, it's obvious it was cocaine, but she's like, at the time, like I just kind of believed you, and that it was just one of those wacky nights for you. And that's the problem is you're not looking for those signs, you're not paying attention to those signs, and you discount them. Let's face it, like we as addicts are really sneaky. We're really good about hiding stuff. And again, I mean, you go into the bathroom, we come up with the most whacked ways to hide our using. And to me, it was like this whole science project, secret agent trying to get high at home. When odds are my ex-wife had no clue. I could have probably went and just did it in the bathroom in my bedroom, or I could have went down the hall and just did some off of a plate. She wouldn't have noticed. But in my brain, you have to be super sneaky about it because everybody's looking. It's that whole paranoia side. And that's how sick we are as an addict. And that's why I share the way that I do. And as much as I do is because as addicts, we truly are sick. And again, if you haven't followed the channel, click the like and subscribe button, comment down below. And I try to just share stories, my experiences of addiction, because so many people do struggle with it. It's not normal to go through this. And also the stigma around cocaine is it's going to destroy your life. It's destroyed my life many of times. I got sober 7/25/17. And at least if this helps open up a family's eyes or make somebody realize like, hey, it's not my fault. I didn't realize my partner was an addict. That's what it's about, because the worst is we as an addict have to get sober if we want to get sober. And we are also, though, responsible for a ton of trauma that we cause. And I don't think people who live with addicts and are around addicts realize what we have done to them. And so to have that understanding, that calmness, that peace of mind, that no, it's not you. There's nothing you could have done, I think is very important. For the addict who is out there who wants to get sober, find what works for you. There's no right or wrong way of getting sober. And that's why I share so much too, is there's no set ABC is going to get you sober. You have to find what works for you, whether it's going into rehab, inpatient treatment, or outpatient treatment. Refine Recovery is amazing. I have them down below. Hit them up. Download Sunflower Sober. I have that tag down below. Download Sunflower Sober, the app. 24-hour AI sponsor support, community. There's tools and resources. There's everything you need to get sober and stay sober with that app. You can go to an AA meeting, an NA meeting, an Al-Anon meeting. There's lots of different meetings, not just even those three, that you can go to learn about addiction, to share with others, to heal, to be in that environment of people who want to be sober. Go to a doctor, a therapist, a psychiatrist, get on the right meds. Medication was really important for me because it was a big form of self-medicating through addiction for me. And again, this is why I do share, is because we do recover. And it is a fight. All of our recovery stories are different. all of our abuse and using stories are different. I mean, I hid cocaine at work. I would do it. I would do it driving. I would always hide it. I was always doing it, and it never registered with me why I was doing so much, but I was. And that was the scary part, is I had lost myself to it. And I think we as addicts lose ourselves to a drug, and that becomes who we are. When I got sober, I didn't know who Eric Zink was. I knew who Eric the coke addict is, Eric the alcoholic. That's who I knew. And that's the scary reality of it. But again, I share for educational purposes only. You can get sober. For the one out there fighting through right now, I believe in you. Keep pushing forward, because it does get better and you are worth it.